Did you know? Mewtwo's first video game appearance in North America wasn't actually in a Pokemon game. Mewtwo first appeared in one of the Game Boy Camera's photo albums in an image alongside Charizard, Venusaur, and Blastoise. The Game Boy Camera had several built-in games and unlockable pictures and was released almost 4 months prior to Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue in the United States. Thanks to Mewtwo's popularity, it also appeared in several games outside of the Pokemon franchise, most notably the Super Smash Bros. Series. Although Mewtwo first entered in Super Smash Bros. Melee, the character was planned to appear in Smash on the Nintendo 64, but was cut early on due to a combination of budget and time constraints. However, Mewtwo was one of the most requested Pokemon fighters for Smash Bros., which practically guaranteed him a spot in Melee. Interestingly, Mewtwo was teased in the original E3 trailer for Melee. Mewtwo's Shadow Ball attack is shown hitting Donkey Kong over 6 months before Mewtwo's character reveal. In the Japanese version of Melee and Smash for the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U, Mewtwo speaks using actual language instead of simple grunts after a match. For example, Mewtwo can be heard saying "Orokana," which means fool. The Pokemon also says which translates to "there is no way I can lose." And in Mewtwo's final victory message it says this means, "Why am I here?" referencing Mewtwo's existential confusion in Pokemon, the first movie. Speaking of victory screens, Mewtwo has a unique victory fanfare in the data for Super Smash Bros. Brawl, as well as a Wii Remote character selection sound. This suggests that Mewtwo was partially developed during the game's production and was planned to appear as a playable character. Although Mewtwo finally returned for Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U, one new element of the Pokemon's character was left out. It was briefly discussed which of Mewtwo's Mega Evolutions would appear in the Wii U and 3DS games as Mewtwo's final Smash, but Smash Bros. Creator Masahiro Sakurai quickly came to a conclusion. He decided to include Mega Mewtwo Y, as Mega Mewtwo X was all about physical offense, which clashed with Sakurai's concept of Mewtwo in Smash. Sakurai told Nintendo Dream, "From a gameplay perspective, I guess it could work to have him summon all his strength and deliver a powerful punch to his opponents, but that's not the type of character Mewtwo is in Smash." Veteran Pokemon developer Junichi Masuda has also stated that Mewtwo has 2 Mega Evolutions instead of 1 so that players could utilize more strategies with Mewtwo, and it would also encourage trading. The Pokemon that Mewtwo is based on, Mew, also appears in the Smash Bros. Franchise via the Pokeball items, and Mew's chance of appearing from a Pokeball in each of the Smash Bros. Games reflects how many Pokemon there are when each game was released. In the original Super Smash Bros., Mew has a 1 in 151 chance of appearing, and in Melee he has a chance of 1 in 251. And finally, Mew's chance of appearing in Brawl is 1 in 493. The word Mew was also the first Pokemon-related term to be trademarked. Its application for trademarking was submitted in 1990, 5 years before even the trademark for Pocket Monsters was submitted. Mew was a little-known secret when Pokemon Red and Green were first released in Japan. Even Nintendo was not initially aware that programmer Shigeki Morimoto had put Mew into the game. After the team removed the debug code in the original Pokemon games, they had a small amount of free space left, which Morimoto used to add Mew in secret. This small, covert act had a huge impact on the Pokemon series, as Mew's inclusion became the stuff of schoolyard legend, and helped spread awareness of Pokemon through word of mouth. Mew and Mewtwo have a clear connection, and it's obvious that Mewtwo's name stems from it being an altered copy of Mew. However, Mew's name seems to have multiple possible origins. It may come from the Japanese word myo, meaning strange. Since Mew has a cat-like appearance, its name may also come from the onomatopoeia of a cat's meow. As well as signifying its relationship to Mew, Mewtwo's name could also be a play on the word mutant, as the two words are phonetically similar. Mew's relationship with Mewtwo could also be based on a debunked biological idea called Recapitulation Theory. Recapitulation Theory suggests that when an animal develops from an embryo to an adult, it goes through phases that resemble previous stages in its evolution. Mewtwo is seen as the next evolution of Mew and looks like a stronger, fully developed creature. Mew, on the other hand, looks almost defenseless and greatly resembles an embryo. It's pink, rounded, with a large head and a tail. Even animals that don't have tails when fully grown, like humans, have developmental tails as they form in the womb. Mew has also been seen within spheres resembling an amniotic sac, a kind of bag that encases a fetus until shortly before birth. Mew is even said to contain the DNA of and be an ancestor to all Pokemon. This connection between Mew, Mewtwo, evolution, and embryos is very reminiscent of Recapitulation Theory. Mewtwo has multiple official origin stories across the different Pokemon canons. In the Pokemon games, it's said that Mewtwo's birthday is February 6th. It's also stated that Mew was impregnated with Mewtwo, a modified clone, which is contrary to other depictions of Mewtwo being created and grown in a laboratory. An interesting difference between regions is that the original Japanese games imply that Mewtwo was created by a single scientist. The Japanese games used the singular personal pronoun watashi in the Pokemon Mansion diary entries, whereas the English games use the plural we. One origin story in the Pokemon Adventures manga aims to explain Mewtwo's creation in more detail. In the manga, Team Rocket scientists didn't collect enough of Mew's cells to complete the body of Mewtwo. One of these scientists, the gym leader Blaine, then used some of his own cells so that Mewtwo was able to become complete. This means that Mewtwo is effectively part human. Besides Mew, there's another Pokemon that has relation to Mewtwo. The Pokemon musical, Pokemon Live, was a licensed 4Kids creation produced by 4Kids executive producer Norman J. Grossfield. The show featured a new Pokemon exclusive to the musical called MechaMew2, though it is not part of the mainstream Pokemon canon. Like Mewtwo in the Pokemon anime, MechaMew2 is created by scientists working for Giovanni. The Pokemon is unique in that it can learn any move and can amplify that move's power. And by the end of Pokemon Live, MechaMew2 has learned every move from the original Pokemon games. MechaMew2 is also 10 feet tall, 7 feet wide, 8 feet deep, and weighs 4,587 pounds, over twice as heavy as the heaviest official Pokemon. The Pokemon even received its own promotional trading card given out to attendees of the musical, though it's not recognized by the official Pokemon trading card game. Did you also know that there's a protein essential for transferring visual information in humans named after Pikachu? Or that Pikachu may not have been planned to be the face of Pokemon? For more Pokemon facts, check out the DidYouKnowGaming video on Pikachu. And hey there, I'm Lee. I produced a documentary on this channel about Nintendo's former president, Satoru Iwata. He had a surprising amount of influence in games like Pokemon and Super Smash Bros., two games we talked about today. If you want to learn more about his amazing life and career, check out this documentary we did about Satoru Iwata.